Good gentles of our land, as we begin our court, we invoke the honor and chivalry of our society. In this ethereal place, as with any physical land, we represent the crown and our kingdom with our deeds and words. Harassment and bullying have no place in our gatherings, nor does exclusion. Every person in this invocation shall be treated in accordance with their inherent nobility. Respect, kindness, and dignity shall be rendered to all, mindful to treat another as they wish to be treated, rather than as we wish ourselves to be treated, and in turn be accorded the same kindness ourselves. Thus opens the court of their excellencies of BlathaAnOir, Baroness Anharat Vert Reinwolf, and Sheikh Yosef Jabbar al-Timbuktu'i al-Khalat. Their excellencies have words.
Greetings, BlathaAnOir. Thank you for joining us tonight for our virtual harvest feast, even though today should have been the day we do this in person, to honor those who have gone before, to recognize the skills and talents and knowledge of so many in our populace. And I know that it is hard. It is challenging to do this without being able to meet together, to fight, to share, to teach in person, to have that touch, those hugs, to share the mead, the tastings, the food, or any of those. So thank you for joining us tonight and help us honor some of the ones who have been doing so for so long and are deserving of recognition.
Welcome to our Harvest Feast court. We know that many of you have been in your keeps for these many months, avoiding the plague that has covered our land. But take heart in knowing that our physicians are working on something to make this easier on you, and that we will be together en masse soon, very soon.
Cameron of Clan Stewart, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Cameron, I am very glad that we are finally going to be able to award this blossom to you. You are so busy that often you are showing up to compete or to teach at the event and then either leaving because you have to go to work or going home because you have come to the event from work and need to go now be with your family, or maybe, as I said, go back and actually do the evening shift. But when you're at an event, your gentility and courtesy are always present. You inspire others on the field with your skill. You honor your opponents and those who are watching. And that is something that is appreciated greatly. With having that true honor there, you work patiently with children, which as a parent, again, I appreciate, and seeing you with your sons and having them at events is also a joy. And I am glad that we are finally able to give you the recognition of this blossom. Thank you.
Hearken, BlathaAnOir, as we extol the deeds of our people, the flowers and the glory of our land. It is with joyous task that their majesties, that we, Baron Gernan and Baroness Aissa, to recognize the good and honorable works done within our lands. Having distinguished themselves within our lands, it is with gladsome hearts that we admit Cameron of Clan Stewart to the companionship of the Golden Blossom, set by our hand and seal this 27th day of April, Anna Societatis 53. A joyous noise for the newest Golden Blossom. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Gowan up Griffin, please pray attend their excellencies.
Gowan, it is with great delight that I get to try and give this to you. It has been so hard with the way real life goes, to try and get this to you in person. It is one that you have deserved so many years, and that is why Hengst and Marika originally designated this golden arrow for you, because of your skill on the archery field and the way you share your knowledge. As a double-buckled sergeant for heavy sergeantry and archery, you have done so much for this barony. You truly do inspire and share your knowledge. And you encouraged me when I went out for sergeantry, which was so appreciated, and I am so glad that we get to finally announce and read this out and give you this well-deserved award. Thank you.
This award for Gowan is long overdue, and we, especially me, commend him for all his knowledge in archery and his guidance. He was one of the people that helped me when I first came to this barony in archery. So I'm especially proud to hand him this award of a golden arrow.
Those who pull the tree's strong arm, with the elm a reed the do harm, with the eye of the eagle sharp, and killing abound the playing their harp. Warriors of the cloth yard shaft, for their land they ply their craft. Though some may rise above the rest, today we honor only the best. With this golden arrow bright, we know we have found the right. Therefore, we wish to honor Gowan ap Griffin and bring him into the Order of the Golden Arrow on this 20th day of August, Anno Societatis 51, Baron Hengst and Baroness Marika. A joyous noise for the newest golden arrow. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Their Excellencies have news for when we can gather.
BlathaAnOir, we actually do have something fun to announce that is not award related. Next year, when we hopefully are finally able to start meeting again in groups more than 4 or 5 or close family, we have members of our populace who are now on 9.5 acres, and they have offered to open that up so that we will have thrown weapons and archery range that are partially covered, that for those that maybe have not been able to participate as often because they couldn't afford the fees at Skookum, that will no longer be a detriment. They are slowly working at building up the site so that it may have RV hookups, but it is large enough, and they have offered it for us to consider using for events such as Lord Defenders and Sergeant's Trials, so that we have another location here in the Barony for our events. That's, again, wonderful news.
I would like to thank Sorsha and Fido for their generous offer of their lands for future events. Thank you very much. You're very well appreciated for doing such.
Fido Weir, you are hereby summoned to present yourselves to the Excellencies.
Fido, I've known you a very long time. You are one of those who's known me since I was, a teenager. And as such, I have seen you be champion for many of the baronies in AnTir, especially here in BlathaAnOir. And you have never hesitated to share your knowledge. You are willing to give of your time to create things for people, whether it be stakes, rope lines. You spent time at an Ursulmus when my car broke as I was coming in on my birthday, and you replaced the alternator so that I would be able to go home after the event on site. This is who you are. You don't ask for recognition on those. You just see something that needs done, and you quietly go, "Can I help?" And that is appreciated, and that is why you are being given this briar. Thank you.
Fido, I've known you for many years, and this is the first time I've actually had the chance to give you an award for your good works. So I would like to thank you for your volunteering and all the good things you have done for our barony. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktui el Kalat, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness BlathaAnOir.
Hearken to the words of the herald, spreading the word fame of service freely given, of words and deeds proving noble worth, through sharp to defend those who raid. The briar also twines and nourishes, so does Fido, who enriches our lands, and we, Yosef, Baron, and Anharat, Baroness, by the grace of the sable lion, are pleased to admit them as companion of the briar. By our hand and seal, this 26th day of September, Anno Societatis 55. A joyous noise for the newest member of the briar. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Sorsha Weir, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Sorsha, you are a delight. You have not been playing quite as long, but you have made your mark on this kingdom. You are working so hard with all of the youth and enthroned weapons. And your cheerfulness working with the children is a joy. As a mother, I can really, really appreciate and acknowledge this, since you are the reason my daughter has a Yafa medallion. That is the only part of Yafa that she has elected to participate in, and she loves doing this with you. And I have watched you participate and do this in a number of events, spending all of your time and energy donating things. And with that, and the fact that you have done so for so many of our events as well, we wish to acknowledge this with the Golden Blossom. Thank you.
Sorsha, I would like to thank you for your hard work in helping within the barony. We appreciate what you've done, plus the offer of your lands. And it is highly appreciated for your volunteerism. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktui el Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness BlathaAnOir.
Speak of the golden blossom and praise its beauty. Spears of green with blooms of precious gold. Likewise, BlathaAnOir has treasure in the deeds and words of one of our own. Place Sorsha Weir in the honor seat, recognizing their deeds and worth. Give them the cup and bid them drink deep. Spread word of their fame. On this day, the 26th day of September, Anno Societatis 55, we, Yosef, Baron of BlathaAnOir, we, Anharat, Baroness of BlathaAnOir, admit you to the companion of the Golden Blossom. 3 cheers for our newest blossom. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Runa Heresdeuter, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Runa, I am so glad that we are going to be able to do this. You have shared so much knowledge with hunting, with hawking, doing things for those personas, working with your dogs, bringing your birds. Obviously not only for BlathaAnOir, but for many other locations here in the Kingdom of AnTir. You have participated in sharing that knowledge at Collegium, at Embers. You work so nicely with the children that adore working with you, or are so drawn to the animals that you care for and share. And you also inspire with your bardic. You have been our bardic champion. You competed at Kingdom and performed so well, I was moved to tears. I was so proud that I could be there and listen. And it is with great delight that I honor and acknowledge all of your skill and teachings here with Yusuf tonight and offer you this Panther's torch.
Rhoda, thank you for your good works. We really appreciate all that you have done. So say I, Yosef Jabal et Timbuktu El Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness BlathaAnOir.
Truth be told, with words so bold, design so rare with such form, given voice forever heavens rise, you who works give delight, share your knowledge and skills. We grant you Runa, the Panther's torch, to show by its flame all the wonders you have wrought. So we speak, so mote it be, by our hand and seal, this 26th day of September, Anno Societatis 55. 3 cheers for our newest Panther's torch. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Håkon Thorgeirsson von Eimiersford, you are hereby summoned to present yourselves to their excellencies.
Håkon, you truly have earned this rare award for BlathaAnOir. Even before the announcement was made as to their majesties and the populace choice, if Yusuf and I had been selected, I had already gone and spoken with members of this order about your work, because it was something that I thought we needed to showcase. The Silver Falcon is for those who show so much work in metal, just as our founding Baron, Michael, worked with jewelry as well. Your work and research into Norse techniques is truly inspiring, and I am in awe of all of the perseverance you have done in doing this.
Håkon, this is an award that has been long in coming. I've known you for many years through 2 baronies and 2 kingdoms, and this is my first chance to give you an award, and I'm quite delighted to do so. You have done quite well with your silver work and other endeavors, so thank you for your good works. So say I, Yosef Jabal et Timbuktu El Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness BlathaAnOir.
Truth be told, with words so bold, design so rare with such form, given voice, forever heavens rise, you whose works give delight. Sharing your knowledge and skills, we grant you Alazan, the Panther's torch, to show by its flame all the wonders you have wrought. So we speak, so mote it be, by our hands and seal, this 26th day of September, Anno Societatis 55. 3 cheers for the Silver Falcon. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Alazan Thorgeirsson Nilavierv, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Alazan, you really have earned this Panther's torch. You have spent years refining your knowledge in woodworking, rose mailing. You work on your persona information for Norse. I've seen you ask further information and details on the cultures all nearby. You support others. While we may not always agree on things, being both very strong-willed women, I have great respect for all of the work you do and the service that you give. And with deep respect for those skills and that talent and that service, you are being presented this Panther's Torch.
Alazan, thank you for your good works. You are well appreciated in this barony. Your work with Yafsa and your article in the Complete Known World are extraordinary for the time you have. Thank you again. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktu el Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Truth be told, with words so bold, design so rare and with such form, given voice, forever heavens rise, you whose works give delight. Sharing your knowledge and skills, we grant you, Alazan, the Panther's Torch, to show by its flame all the wonders you have wrought. So we speak, so mote it be, by our hands and seal this 26th day of September, Anno Societatis 55. A joyous noise for our newest Panther's Torch. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Asher de Jaeger, you are hereby summoned to present yourselves to their excellencies.
Grustik Asher. It is always so much fun to be able to surprise the Herald. Having been Herald for BlathaAnOir for many years in the past, I remember what a challenge it was for those coronets, Anne and Sven, to be able to surprise me. It's much easier virtually, but I wanted to thank you for all of your hard work and perseverance as a fighter. You have shown great courtesy on the field. You gave me the delight of being able to continue to be an inspiration at one point for the day, which is something I miss, and I am so grateful for that. You work on sharing knowledge, helping set up classes. You encourage people to work even now with the century drills and bringing recognition of those who are doing that. And that is something that is a true credit to you as a squire. With all of the service that you do, when you see someone needing help in an event, and you just pick up and start toting or grabbing, that is appreciated, and I really am grateful that you are part of BlathaAnOir. Thank you.
Asher, you have joined this barony and you have done most excellently. We appreciate the fact that you've come here. You have been one of the fighters. You are the marshal for our fighters. We also appreciate the fact that you've heralded and have volunteered for many things within the barony. These are many good works and are deserving of an award. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktu el Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Hearken to the words of the herald, spreading the word fame of service freely given, of words and deeds proving noble worth. Though sharp to defend those who raid, the briar also twines and nourishes. So too does Asher. He enriches our lands, and we, Yusuf Baron and Anharat Baroness, by the grace of the Sable Lion, are pleased to admit them into the companion of the Briar, by our hand and seal this 26th day of September, Anno Societatis 55. 3 cheers for our newest Briar. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Her Excellency has words.
Time for some fun. Again, we get to help surprise the court coordinator and the herald, which is a little easier when we're getting to do this virtually and don't have to have it in the books. But I wished to direct all of our attention on two who have been laboring with their hands and sharing love through the delivery of shenanigans. Kira and Elisif, I have known you both for a very, very, very long time. And there have been shenanigans in the past. But your continuing delight of reaching out to so many people in the barony and in the kingdom of AnTir is truly a treasure. You already, as members of tribe, have the Trequetra. You have the Baronial Service Awards, both levels. You have Kingdom Awards for your service. You have been there supporting everyone, letting them know that they are loved, they are important, and you are too. And with this, I wish to make sure that you have the Baroness favor, and so you two are the first to receive this from myself. Thank you.
Nakayama no Mayoshi Marasaki, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Murasaki, your art amazes me. I very seldom dabble with pen and ink or paper. I used to. I do enjoy it, but it is something that fell on the wayside. Watching the number of scrolls, the designs, the artwork that you share with the baronial scribes is inspiring. It's awing. Your talent truly amazes me, and I am so grateful that you give so much of your time painting and designing scrolls for us. With this, I wanted to make sure that you were recognized and thanked for all of this service, and thus you are deserving to be a Briar for BlathaAnOir.
Nagyama, thank you for your many good works. We do appreciate them immensely. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktu el Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Much do you give to the people of our land. More the gaiety and more is the glory of BlathaAnOir, with riches renowned of your service of the lands of the golden blossom. Your worthy deeds bring you acclaim. The Sable Lion's ready is to recognize those of worth. With joy we make you a Briar this day. By our hand and seal, this 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55. 3 cheers for our newest Briar. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Gwyneth Alviber, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Gwerith, while you may not have been a member of our barony for very long, you have made an impact. You are a jeweler. you are a Welsh woman, and of course that's going to just make me smile and have delight anyways. David is a joy. You work very hard. You have shared the talent of your hands. You participate, even now virtually, while juggling all of the things that you need to do as a young mother. And you share that information. You're striving to make sure that all of the things around you show that love and joy and care for detail. You have also been participating in shenanigans of love, which have been very tasty. And not only for myself, but for others. And I have had it requested. And it is with great delight that we install you for this award as a Golden Blossom of BlathaAnOir. Thank you.
Wern, thank you for your good works. They are greatly appreciated. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktu el Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Hearken, BlathaAnOir, as we extol the deeds of our people, the flowers and the glory of our land. It is a joyous task from their majesties that we, Yosef Sheikh and Anharat Baroness, to recognize the good and honorable works done within our lands. Having distinguished themselves within our lands, it is with gladsome hearts that we admit Gwyneth to the companionship of the golden blossom, set by our hand and seal this 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55. 3 cheers for our newest blossom. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Everard de Vallon, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Everard, you've done so much for AnTir, and you have volunteered a lot here in BlathaAnOir. And now that you are a member, I get to finally say, hey, look, and we're going to give you something to recognize all of the service that you have done. And not only at events, but teaching, helping with making sure archery runs well, doing classes, like I said, for marshalling and doing the different fine points of archery, leather work. I have a pretty quiver and a bracer that you helped teach me how to make. And so many other things. And while yes, one could say I am biased since you are also a member of Clan Karn and are thus a clan brother, you work so hard that it is a great delight that we get to give you this blossom for your service. Thank you.
Baron Everard, we want to thank you for your volunteering, your good works. I know you are some part of the band of gypsies that have been spreading cupcakes throughout the land, and we appreciate that. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktu el Kalat.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Hearken, BlathaAnOir, as we extol the deeds of our people, the flowers and glory of our land. It is a joyous task from their majesties that we, Yosef Sheikh and Anharat Baroness, to recognize the good and honorable works done within our lands. Having distinguished themselves within our lands, it is with gladsome hearts that we admit Everard to the companionship of the golden blossom, set by our hand and seal this 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55. A joyous noise for our newest blossom. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Genevieve de Colombe, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Genevieve, I am glad you are a member of BlathaAnOir. You help so many with being that listening ear, that shoulder. You smile and help out. And you too, along with Everard, have also been participating in the Food is Love shenanigans, making people within the barony feel needed, wanted, important. You spend that time delivering these things, and that is in this time where we cannot reach out and be together even more important. So we wish to recognize all of this in your efforts with the Blossom.
Genevieve, I know that you and Baron Everard have gone taking cookies to many places, and we appreciate your volunteerism and spreading of cheer. It is highly appreciated. So say I, Yosef Jabbar at Tumbiktui El Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Speak of the golden blossom and praise its beauty. Spears of green with blooms of precious gold. Likewise, BlathaAnOir has treasure in the deeds and words of one of our own. Place Genevieve in the honor seat, recognizing their deeds and worth. Give them the cup and bid them drink. Spread word of their fame on this, the 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55. We, Yosef, Baron of BlathaAnOir, and we, Anharat, Baroness of BlathaAnOir, admit you into the companionship of the Golden Blossom. 3 cheers for our newest blossom. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Sophia Francesca Bruno, please pray attend their excellencies.
Sophia, I am one of those who can recall you being called Bead Mama. I may not personally be able to do the bead making. I've never been able to actually finesse the time, but you helped inspire so many with this teaching. You have labored years on this, constantly helping, inspiring, going back, working behind the scenes, getting people to do more and more. And it is with love and respect that we are requesting that you join the members of the Albatross. And we would encourage you to listen and take to heart the words of some of those who are sharing these words today.
Sophia, we want to thank you for your good works and the fact that you have a helium hand and are willing to volunteer immensely. From one albatross to another, we thank you. So say I, Yosef Jabbar at Tumbiktui El Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness, BlathaAnOir.
Deeds worker, counsel giver, one who selfishly toils, your steady hand has tilled the lands of the golden blossoms, keeping rows smooth and harvest yields high. Without your labors, while the seasons unfold, we feel the barony would wither. Hearken the call of the bird on the wing, leading us as the lonesome to the speak your name. So do we, Yosef and Anharad, Baron and Baroness of BlathaAnOir, do admit you to the Order of the Albatross, this, the 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55.
Sophia, I was so very happy to hear that you were being recognized for your outstanding service to the barony of BlathaAnOir, to the kingdom of AnTir, and indeed to our entire society over these many years. In past ages, the sailors looked to the albatross to help them navigate difficult waters. The great bird is graceful on the wing and enduring, traveling thousands of miles, blending elegance and efficiency. Its path is long and its impact is mighty, much like yours. Your path through AnTir has touched many, and your grace and endurance are well known. I am but one that you have inspired, and I thank you for your gift of knowledge. Love you, Bead Mama.
I'm Baron Alexei.
And I'm Baroness Elspeth.
And we are honored to be able to speak to you today about the accomplishments of Her Ladyship Sophia.
We were absolutely thrilled when she moved to BlathaAnOir over 10 years ago.
Really, it was so nice to be able to have an artisan of her stature come down and give so freely of her time and efforts to the people in our barony. It was really quite something for us, and something we'll cherish forever.
Multiple times she brought her student bead making setup to our fight practice and social, and taught bead making to the populace at her own cost. Not only that, but for 3 years in a row, she produced over 1,000 beads for sight tokens for AnTir.
It was really quite nice having her in our barony. The 1,000, still don't know how she made 1,000 beads just to give away at our largest event. But it was an accomplishment that I'll always remember about Sophia.
Greetings unto your excellencies of BlathaAnOir and our most glorious populace. Today I am honored to be here to speak of the amazing Sophia. When I heard that you were being made a part of the Order of the Albatross, I might have cried a tear a little, for I cannot imagine anybody that is more deserving than you. You are my bead mama. You've taught so many people how to make beads in this barony. You've made thousands and thousands of beads for sight tokens. It is because of your work and your service that this barony is known for the most amazing sight tokens ever. We also would not have Embers and Ambrosia if it wasn't for you. For you are the one person that thought of the entire thing. It was your brainchild, and now it has grown into an amazing ANS event. Congratulations on becoming a member of the Order of the Albatross.
3 cheers for the newest albatross. Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Hip, hip, huzzah! Aurelius Maximus Caligula, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Maximus, you weren't one for while Yusuf and I were cornets very long, but I watched your work, all of your service as a page, and was inspired, and so many others were too. I would not be able to count the number of people who said, "Are you going to recognize him? What do you mean?" And because you were always pleasant, you were there, you were helpful, you didn't make the younger children feel bad. And oftentimes that is something that can be very important. Watching how an older youth works with those who are younger, or maybe not as swift, is important because it shows their grasp of the chivalry and courtesy that are some of the touchstones of the society. And with those, I believe that you truly are deserving of this bloom.
Aurelius, you are a page. We thank you for your service, and this is something that is long overdue. So say I, Yosef Jabbar el Timbuktu el Kalat, Sheikh, BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness BlathaAnOir.
As the sapling grows in height, so too have you grown in the service to this barony. Diligent in duty, cheerful in courtesy, even in one who is just beginning to see the approach of maturity. Bards spread the word fame far and near, as we summon Aurelius Maximus Caligula here, recognizing their actions and deeds, worth with golden bloom now, their title forsooth. On this, the 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55. 3 cheers for the newest golden bloom. Hip hip, huzzah! Hip hip, huzzah! Hip hip, huzzah!
Sigmund Faust, you are hereby summoned to present yourself to their excellencies.
Sigmund, your work has been greatly recognized. I have had a lot of people ask how you are doing, what you are doing. I remember when you were doing earlier period as opposed to the Lance Connect you do now. And you put your heart and soul into that as well. But the work that you have been doing with Sigmund Faust as the persona is truly worthy of this recognition. It is not only within AnTir, but outside, that people are sharing some of the words or your images or your work. You have been sharing your information on Marshall at Embers with the newer fighters, encouraging them, helping create new classes while we were able to meet. You worked so hard as an officer and gave of your time with your family. And that is something that is a hard thing to juggle. It really is. And I appreciate all of the work you do, your courtesy, your gentility, your kind words. More than once I have not only seen you quietly reach out and talk to someone, but I have also been the one that you have sat and done a very quiet, soft-spoken, just a couple of words of encouragement. And that made it all the difference. Thank you. Please do continue. Keep working. It would be marvelous to see what else you can do. Thank you.
Sigmund, you have done many things within our barony, and we appreciate all your volunteering. It is what helps make this barony better. So keep volunteering. It is to our advantage for you to be such a wonderful part of this barony. Thank you. So say I, Yosef Jabbar al Timbuktu el Kalat, Baron BlathaAnOir.
And so say I, Anharat Verhenov, Baroness BlathaAnOir.
Listen well, people of AnTir, to troubadour words. See the inspiration of one who delves deep, striving for excellence in all he does, guiding and teaching by example and sharing of resources, chivalrous on and off the field of battle, bright-visaged his brow and cheerful his manner, soft-spoken yet quick to protect all, swift to volunteer and assist where needed, yet also strong-willed to cleave and take care of family, wise to know balance. Thus do we, coronets of the golden blossom, by the will and word of the Black Lion crown, do call forth Sigmund Faust to be recognized for his work in all things, and be raised forth a companion of the Lala Vert. Thus do we, Anharat, Baroness, and Yusuf Sheikh, set by our hand and seal this 7th day of November, Anno Societatis 55. Hören Sie gut zu, Leute von AnTir, diese Troubadour-Worte. Sehen Sie die Inspiration von jemandem, der sich tief eintaucht in sein Streben nach Exzellenz in allem, was er tut. Führen und lehren durch Beispiel und gemeinsame Nutzung von Ressourcen. Ritterlich auf und ab dem Schlachtfeld. Er sah strahlend aus und fröhlich seiner Art, leise gesprochen, aber schneller aller beschützen, schneller freiwilligen Arbeit und Unterstützung den Bedarf. Aber auch willensstark, sich zu spalten und für die Familie zu sorgen. Weise, das Gleichgewicht zu kennen. So tun wir, Kronen der goldenen Blüte durch den Willen und das Wort der Krone des schwarzen Löwe. Rufen Sie Sigmund Faust hervor, um für seine Arbeit in allen Dingen anerkannt zu werden und sei ein Gefährte der Laliver. So setzen wir an Harriet Baroness und Yusuf Sheikh unsere Hand und unser Siegel diesen 7. November Honor Societatis 55.
A joyous noise for the newest companion of La Liberte. Hip hip huzzah! Hip hip huzzah! Hip hip huzzah!
To the populace at the end of this court, I want to thank you all for coming to court. I want you to all know that we will soon be together and that we cherish all the people who have been volunteering throughout this time of plague, spreading cheer where you can. Thank you so much for your ability to do well even though we are plague-ridden. And again, our physicians are working on a cure for this.
BlathaAnOir, thank you again for joining us tonight for our virtual Harvest Court. And although we could not meet together at this time and do our usual participation of largesse with taxes, or doing the toy drive for Toys for Tots, donating to the food bank, or having the dessert auction for a charity, remember that in this time that there are those who are struggling even more than usual with not being able to work or not having the hours. And so if you have the ability to take and donate a toy for Toys for Tots, or to give to one of your local food banks, whether it be St. Leo's or one associated with your preferred faith, to please do so. It is challenging at the best of times for many of these families. And I know that I am blessed with a work that has allowed me to work from home and have full-time hours, but there are many who are not and now are struggling. And if we can, I would encourage you to give just a little bit, because every single bit helps. You never know who that might help. Reach out to someone you know who may be discouraged and give them that kind word, because that may make all the difference for them that day, that week, to help them keep going. And remember that next year we want to be able to meet and see each other and do all the things together again. And to that point, I wish you good night.
Your Excellencies, is there further business? There being no further business before this court, the court of their Excellencies Sheikh Yosef Jabbar al-Tambaktoui al-Khalat and Baroness Anharat Virch Reinwolf is closed. Long live their most royal majesties, King Christian and Queen Helene of AnTir. Long live BlathaAnOir, and 3 times the greatest kingdom in the known world, AnTir. AnTir. AnTir.